What's up, everybody? Thank you for once again joining us on the Noble Photo and the Wedding Machine podcast. We've renamed this thing once again, Noble Photo and the Wedding Machine. It's not the Wedding Machine, is it, Brian?
Yeah, I don't guess. I don't think we crank out weddings. Photos, videos, sure.
We definitely have a discussion about this thing called wedding photography and videography, don't we?
We have a discussion. I mean, I think the impetus of this group, or the podcast, I should say group, was to discuss weddings in detail. This was pre-COVID when we thought we could actually have people available here, but I don't guess that's happening anytime soon.
Anytime soon, right?
But that doesn't mean we can't, doesn't mean we cannot give advice. I think that was a double negative sentence. So.
It's okay. It happens. It's the year of COVID still. So, I mean, we're looking forward to 2021, but we're still in this thing called 2020. 2020 is hindsight.
Yeah.
How would we have done it differently? I don't know. We probably would just jump right into the big mess that it is, to be honest with you.
I'm just looking forward to that vaccine.
I think I am too. We've been so fortunate to gosh, man, knock on wood, to be as healthy as we are.
Is that what?
If it's pressed wood, it's hold on. All the knocking will not stopping. That's funny. All the knocking, no stopping. Oh goodness, yeah. But we're just hoping and praying that it never blooms in Ardmore, Tennessee. There's a movie that I watched one time. It was Apollo 13, and Jim Lovell, in the movie, played by Tom Hanks. He has to make the call to take one of his astronauts off of the ready list or whatever, put him on the backup or something like that. Ken Mattingly was his name. He was one of the commanders, the person who would fly the command module. But Ken Mattingly was exposed to the measles. You know about that? He was exposed to the measles several weeks before the launch, and then he was grounded. And Jim Lovell had to tell him, "You are not allowed on this flight." And about probably, what was it, the better part of 7 to 10 days, or a couple days after the command module had the malfunction, "Houston, we have a problem." He actually got to talk from ground to James Lovell, and he says, James Lovell asked him, "Are the flowers blooming in Houston?" And his response was, "Flowers are not blooming in Houston," because he didn't have the measles. So
okay.
Flowers are not blooming in Ardmore.
So, outside that tangent, we should really talking about what we came here to talk about.
Yeah. First, looks. Should you do them?
Let's talk about that. No,
let's talk about that. Or today on Good Morning.
No.
Or should you not?
Well, I'm going to say a lot. So this question was posed in a group that I belong in. And a lot of women jumped in there, either pro or con. And I think coming from a wedding photographer's standpoint, we don't really take a position on that necessarily, because it's really up to the couple. And that is not to say that we don't have a preference. We actually do. But it's more of a selfish preference, and it is not a reflection upon how we are able to do our jobs. We have our pros and cons, and if you choose to not do a first look, that is okay. If you want to stick with your traditional down the aisle, him seeing you for the first time, him, her, they, however you would like to be referred to, I think that is perfectly fine. And if you want to do a first look, that is perfectly fine too. I think what a first look does is more from the psychological standpoint than anything. I think that if you're a person that is highly emotional and you do not wish to share those feelings with everybody in attendance, then maybe you would want to do that first look and get all of those emotions out of the way so that you can just get yourself through the ceremony. In terms of time frames, it's a lot easier, I think, on a wedding photographer to get all of the images he or she or they want to get. If there is a first look, they feel less pressed for time, and the couple, can enjoy, just going on to their reception from their ceremony. So, that's the pros of a first look. The cons, you do kind of miss out on that, traditional, like, capturing the motion as she or he or they, or however you guys are doing it, coming down the aisle. So that's something to think about. If you choose not to do a first look, my recommendation is to make sure that you have a list of all the photos that you're going to want, because those things take a while, especially if you have a large wedding party. And that's something else to think about too. If you've got a pretty sizable wedding party, the pictures take a long time.
They do.
If you have a large family that you're photographing that day, those things take time. So I think the most important thing you can do, and the best advice I have to any individual considering a first look versus a non-first look, is to make sure the size of your wedding party isn't going to be an issue when it comes to taking up that time.
I agree. And I think time is of the essence. And I think that making sure, if you're not going to do a first look, understand the time of year that you're in.
Right.
For instance, prime example, we don't make stuff up. We give examples because we shoot like 40 and 50 weddings a year. So we've seen the good, bad, and the ugly. I'll give you some ugly. Won't call names by no means whatsoever. But shot a wedding in the fall within the last 5 years, to play it safe. And the couple, they just didn't account for the time. And there was no first look. And no photos were taken beforehand because, quite frankly, it was almost nearly impossible to get it done. We were on a rush timeline, and after the wedding, sun was down, and the only thing that we had was the steady glow of a golden hour at the last tenth of what we could use for natural light with photos, until we had to start using our strobes and our off-camera flash and all that stuff. What I'm saying is, be cognizant of your time.
Late fall, this is going to come into effect with your late fall,
October, November,
and your winter weddings.
Absolutely.
So just be mindful of that. Check your daylight savings. Make sure that you account for what's happening. If you're doing an all indoor wedding, this doesn't really apply, but if you're planning to do any photos outside, that's something to be mindful of.
Yeah. And also, the things that you gravitate towards, if you're on Instagram a lot, if you're on, what is that thing that brides love so much, Pinterest. If you're on Pinterest and you're seeing all of these natural light photos, and you go and get married in a place where it's just inside and there's no outdoor amenities, your photos are not going to be a reflection of what you're doing on Pinterest. It's just not. It's going to be all indoors. So make sure the things that you like are the things that you're wanting to be delivered upon for your own desire.
Well, that's a tangent. That's
another
podcast.
Thing. but it's something I want to touch base on.
The pros and the cons of a first look versus a non-first look. With a first look, you're going to have a little more time to capture all those images you want. If you're wanting to be creative, if you're wanting to have lots and lots of photos, that's a pro. You've got a lot of time. It does kind of rush you a little more to be ready before the ceremony. And then two, you've really got to give yourself, if you're getting ready on site, you've got to give yourself a pretty wide wide berth to just get yourself put away if you don't want other people to see you before your actual ceremony. And so that's something to think about as well. In terms of just going down the aisle and doing the traditional first look, as you're going down the aisle, I think one of the cons there is, again, you're rushed for time, you're missing out on your reception. And I think some of the concerns that we've run into in the past is that they don't want to spend, they don't want people to leave without getting to see them. Our couples don't want people to leave. And so a lot of times they do a cocktail hour, kind of hoping that people will mill around and stick around and things like that. And we're living in kind of a different time, so we really haven't run into this as much. But, 2019 and before, we kind of saw this going on. And we do have a lot of brides that ask our opinions. Should I do a first look? Should I not? And, we pretty much tell them, ultimately it's up to you. We're glad to do it however you'd like.
It's your day.
Selfishly, yes, we would say do the first look so that we're not stressed out trying to get all the images.
Yeah. And we will get it done either way.
Yeah.
It's just, time.
If you decide not to do a first look before the ceremony, then, as I said, have a list ready. Make sure that you have everybody on there. Make sure everybody knows where they need to be to get those. And start big and go small.
Oh, yeah.
I prefer, if you're going to do all of the photos in between the ceremony and the reception, to knock out like the big portraits first. So if you've got family members there, get them done first, send them on to the reception. That's another thing. Have people leave. Like, don't let them stick around, because then, they're a distraction. People are talking. They're heckling you. They're wanting to get their best wishes. They're breaking out the cell phones, trying to get their photos. And that's not to say, we're photographers. You can't take pictures while we're taking. That has nothing to do with it. It's just it takes away from the amount of time that you have to get those photos, and it keeps you away from your reception. So the fewer people that you have vying for your attention, the better.
So true. And that's without a first look you're talking about. Yeah. Because like right after the wedding, people want to touch you, hug you, kiss you, love on you, and that's perfectly fine.
And they want their selfies.
They want their selfies. And, here we are with our cameras and everything and stuff, and paid, well for what we're doing. And we're like, gotta get this done, because we realize that if photos get missed, if we miss,
it's on us.
It's on us. And I mean, we can come back all day long and say, well, Aunt Martha or Aunt Bertha or whatever, kept us from it. And it's like, I don't care. I didn't know that. But see, you're in another place. You're in another headspace. You've just said I do. You've just got married. So you are like on cloud 30, okay? And you're not cognizant of anything. Time is moving by faster than you could ever imagine.
And we don't want to stress you out.
We don't want to stress you out. The last thing we want to do is just kind of be hateful and mean and pull you aside and all that. That's just not our game. What is our game is getting you a timeline and making sure that, the timeline that you have with your wedding coordinator, whoever that be, jives with us. We jive with them. We know exactly when things are going to happen. And the day is beautiful. And that's where I'm at.
So long story short, we can't tell you what to do.
Nope.
we lean a little bit more toward the first look before the ceremony. But that doesn't mean that we're taking a stand on one side or the other.
And some people are superstitious, like they think if they see each other before the wedding. From my perspective, that's not true. I don't believe in superstition. You are
2020. We all lost. Okay.
Okay. You are in love with this individual. That individual is in love with you. This is your wedding day with this individual. This is the start of the rest of your life. If you see them, it is okay. But for your own psyche, if you don't want to see them, then that's totally fine as well. But it's our job to tell you the highs and the lows and the in-betweens and all that stuff. And what I'll say when it comes to the first look, one of the biggest reasons why I lean more towards the first look is it diffuses your day in a good way. I see emotions of just being jittery and shaky, and that just goes away. You can relax. You can you don't have to flex no more. You can just put your hair down, and you can enjoy your day as it unfolds. Me and Brianne in 2012, we had a first look.
We did, and it's a private moment.
It
too.
is.
It gives you an opportunity to enjoy that.
Yes.
Just the two of you. Instead of in front of 200 plus people.
It is your moment.
So just things to be mindful of. what is your personality?
Mm-hmm.
What is your significant other's personality? You know, I've met some people that were so stinking nervous that maybe they weren't planning to do a first look, and you know, you just suggested, would it help if you saw this person? And they're like, yes.
Yes, it would make it better.
You know, they're like, if I could just see him or her, I would feel a million times better.
So
and
true.
so, you know, so we have people doing that as well. You know, we've never persuaded anybody to do one thing or another. It's just, you know, it was a suggestion, and then they kind of ran with it. Like, yeah, you know, forget this. I want to see my bride. I want to see my groom. Like,
I want to see him now. Okay.
So yeah. So just things to think about. You know, we've had plenty of faux first looks that have been great, which have also diffused the situation.
Where they're like holding on each other's hands through the door or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's cute.
Oh, no. I'm not even talking about that.
Oh, you're talking about when Uncle Billy dresses up as the bride.
Yes, or a friend or something. Cool. I remember our teams, all three of our teams shot on one weekend. Yeah. And it was so funny because we all had a faux first look where it was like the best man or somebody or a brother or something dressing up, and it cracked me up because, you know, I don't think any of us had really experienced that, and then on the same weekend, like all three of our teams experienced it.
What about Hannah and Jacob? Remember that one?
Hannah and Jacob. That was hilarious.
Dude walks in with his shirt off. He's got overalls on, and he's just big dude. All right, and
with his rifle.
His rifle, shotgun. It's a shotgun, and you know, we're like, Jake, man, here, my goodness, she's so beautiful. Oh, and Hannah's gorgeous. Don't get me wrong. Is Noble coming in? What's up, dude? Come here, Noble. And he first looked his uncle. It was hilarious. It was funny. So Noble, we should probably shut this one down pretty soon. Because there's really nothing else to talk about.
Right. So, first looks, yay or nay?
Yay or hey?
Ultimately, it's up to you. I would discuss that with your photographer.
Definitely.
Discuss that with your significant other and come up with a plan. And if that's just go with the consensus. Ultimately, just know that either way, have a plan and you should be fine.
Absolutely. And Noble, you got to come send us off, Noble. Come here. Come send us off. Got to come send us off. Get right here.
Quickly.
Got to get quickly because this thing will start recording probably. So I want you to look into the camera. Here, come here. Come here, bud. I want you to say, thanks for watching. Here we go.
Thanks for watching, guys. So, you know the difference. If you ever see an octopus, don't touch it.
Words of wisdom right there.
But sometimes, if you actually give them food, and you give them shells, they'll probably love it.
Yes, they would. Octopuses, octopi. What's the plural of octopus? Octopi?
Taco.